definitely glad to get you on here, man. It's been, man, it's funny because I had like a list of people who I've always wanted to get on the show, and it seems like once we got the Woodward Sports, like all of a sudden we have access to those people now. But definitely one of the best customizers. Like, it's almost funny, like anytime you see like a celebrity with like a customized shoe, it's almost exclusively one of yours. Especially with the wrestlers now.
Oh, WWE, I might as well be on the retainer right now. I mean,
I'm surprised you're not.
I might sign a 30-day contract and go in for the pay-per-view this weekend. Who knows?
Man,
if you need a manager, let me know.
Like, I told you 10 years from now they're gonna be inducting you into the Hall of Fame.
I'm right down the road, so why not?
Speaking of which, I mean, note to WWE, if you're gonna have a Hall of Fame, actually have a Hall of Fame, like an actual place. I wonder if
I think they're working on it. I don't know if you saw that show on A&E that they got with all the memorabilia and stuff.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
So I think they are.
Okay, that'll be dope. I actually would go to that.
Oh yeah, I would too. One time.
But no, so we got designer, artist, and customizer Mache 275 on the show. So I guess we start from the very beginning. So you started customizing around 2004, right?
Yeah, 2002 is when it really started, but 2004 is when I started to realize other people were doing it. That's when I saw the community and the sneaker plays, the ISSs, the Nike talks. That's when I knew other people were doing it, and that's when you started to learn how to do more techniques and things like that. And then then social media happened, and everything just kind of blew up.
Right. It's funny that you mentioned Nike Talk, because I was just talking to somebody, like, I miss those Nike Talk days where you had to go in there and deep dive. What in the world?
What did he do?
Easy. You drunk?
They're online shopping.
Easy drunk over there.
He's at Mache Customs buying some shoes. That's what he's doing.
So you started in, we said 2002, but then you took it, you really got into it 2004. What was that whole culture like? Like, now everybody and the mother is, customizing and whatnot.
Right.
And so what was that culture like back then?
Back then, it was non-existent. I mean, I could probably count on like one or two hands how many people were doing it around the world, at least that I knew about. The first time I saw someone doing customs was in a Complex magazine when Complex still had a magazine. Someone was doing, it was C2 was doing the customs, and there was like different models wearing them. I played sports all my life, so I was always a competitor, and I was like, I could do that.
Right.
Had no idea how to paint shoes. I went to like the local paint store and bought whatever, and made a pair of Air Max 90s that were all different shades of purple, and they were terrible in hindsight because, again, I didn't know how to prep shoes. I didn't know how to do any of that stuff. But, I went into the barber shop, everyone's like, oh, shit, when, can I curse? Am I allowed?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you said what are you going to?
All right, I'm just making sure. I don't know. So they're like, when did Nike drop those? And I was like, I made them. So, of course, they asked me to do a pair for a free cut. So that's what I did. So, but, fast forward a month later, every barber in the shop is wearing my shoes, and they're saying, our boy Mache did the shoes. I had my little business card in the front with all the bootleg sneakers and all that stuff, so everyone can kind of find me. And that was my social media back then, was just getting the word of mouth through the barbershops. And then over time, I just started to get better and better and learning techniques. And now that's going through the forums and stuff and talking to other people that were doing what I was doing when I discovered them. Then it was just a matter of refining my skills and kind of getting back to the artwork and things like that. Because when I started, my customs were mad basic. They were just straight up color blocking, and if you see a lot of beginner customs, that's what mine looked like. It was like anybody else. There was no difference. But as I got better, it got tuned into my actual artistic ability. So I did art in college and high school and things like that. So I always had that ability, but I felt comfortable to actually try to get more, tedious and difficult with the projects. And then social media happened, and that kind of just went out the freaking stratosphere.
On average, like, how long does it take to customize a shoe?
Prep itself can take like an hour if you do it properly, because you're sitting there taking off layers and putting different adhesions, and depending on what the materials are, especially like with cleats and stuff, there's it's like you're painting a car. You're doing sanding, you're doing all this crazy stuff. A lot of weird smells come out of my shop when it's during NFL season. But between prep and paint, I mean, I can get a pair done in a day, but then there's other ones that could take a week, depending on if you want the mom flash tattoo or you want the Sistine Chapel. It really depends on what you're looking for.
Right. Now, how long do they last, though? Do they last a long time? Because, like, I see some customs is like, after a few wears, it kind of flakes off.
That's bad prep. That's all.
Oh, yeah.
That's why the prep is so important. If the prep's the worst part of the custom, it's just tedious. But you can tell when people aren't prepping their shoes because, if you're doing it properly, it's going to bond, it's going to stick. I have customs that I had when I started, learning how to do it properly that are still fine.
I'm always interested in this as a designer, because we all know you'll design something or somebody else will design something, and then like a year or so later we'll see this Nike drop, and it's like, what does that remind me of? Like,
tread lightly, because seeds will sell your ideas. I'm speaking from personal experience. Tread lightly, my friend, on this topic.
He acts like they don't listen to the show and just hear it from his own mouth.
3 of my shoes that I did miraculously end up releasing, and the only person who speaks to the CEO of Nike has a Falcons hat on.
Listen, he'll say something on the show, and then it happens, and then he'll blame me as if he didn't say it on the show.
Do you talk to Nike? Do you communicate with Nike regularly?
I don't have to say anything.
Do you communicate with Nike regularly?
That mean I talk about you?
Okay.
It could be me for all you know, bro.
But it could be.
If we put that in the air, I would love to have some forest green 14s. So
y'all heard MJ. But no, so okay, is that frustrating though when you put out, because you got to put all this creativity, all this work into something, and to see a brand kind of take that idea, is that frustrating for you as an artist?
I mean, it works both ways. I mean, you got to remember, us custom artists, we're taking inspiration from a lot of their stuff. I remember a lot of my beginner customs were doing a Jordan inspired by the AirTag Challenge. We're taking from each other. At the end of the day, if they really didn't want us to thrive, they could hit us with that lettering, get rid of us real quick.
right.
So I feel like, you have to have a little bit of, I don't know. I don't feel like they're always watching. Yeah, I mean, I understand that I'm not going to bite the hand that feeds me. I mean, I know.
When you say they can send a letter and just end it, how do you feel about the whole little Nas Mischief situation that just happened with Nike?
Well, the problem with that was, they were just blurring the lines of people that weren't informed, didn't understand that Nike had nothing to do with it. At the end of the day, I think their big problem was either, one, how did they source 666 pairs of black Air Max 97s, for one, because the customizers just finding white on white Air Forces right now is a freaking nightmare in itself. Right. So to source that specific shoe, all right, are they legit? Are they legit shoes to start off with as base shoes? Oh, and then you get people that mainstream that have no idea, that have nothing to do with sneaker culture. Like moms in Iowa are like, oh, those are the devil shoes that Nike put out. That's all they know. They don't know that it's a custom artist doing whatever.
Right.
So I feel like the biggest thing with custom stuff is transparency. I think people try to blur the lines to make people either buy them under the guise that it's one thing and it's not, because they might have to do that. But I don't know. I think as long as you're explaining what you're doing and you're covering your bases, you're fine. I just don't think, especially having Lil Nas X, who's mainstream, as hell now.
Right.
Him co-signing it, that just put more eyes on it. That if they had enough, they didn't have a problem with the walk-on water shoes, but when the devil got involved, that's when they had a problem.
That was my point. But out of all the collaborations, of all the customizations that you've done, which one is your favorite? Does anyone stick out to you?
It's like picking your favorite child. I mean, honestly, at a point now, you get so emotionally involved in most of these projects. I mean, at least thankfully I can pick those like that.
Right.
I mean, I know everyone knows me for the LeBron Ironmans. Everyone knows me for that pair, just because that was kind of the one that thrust me into mainstream, and people knew I was the guy that did LeBron shoes because he's him. In terms of favorite customs, though, personally, gosh, I was a big fan of I did some Quailman Air Forces. They were really simple, but they were just creative. Based off of Doug Funny, had the little I did the belt strap around the top, so it looked like the quail thing.
Yeah, the little headband.
Yeah.
See, if you wasn't around for Nickelodeon, you probably don't know.
Shout out Doug and Pork Chop.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh, and then I did the Sky Davis shoes too on the Jordan 10s. I did the I forgot the name of it, but in that whole Doug thing. Yeah, when I was doing trying to get ideas, I was always just getting inspiration from growing up, whether it was movies, cartoons, music, whatever. I was a big Knight Rider fan, so I did some Knight Rider themed LeBron 7s, and I put the light in the bubble, so it looked like the light from Kit, and it had the Knight Industries.
Wow.
Well,
Again, that's another Washed reference. That's when I thought Michael Knight was awesome. I didn't know who David Hasselhoff was. So no matter what the success is, I mean, I don't feel like I'll ever be a person that will switch up just because I came from a trailer park, and I know that no matter how much money you make and how much success you get, you still got to go home. You still got to go deal with people that know Dan and not Mache, and it's almost it's stupid to act like you're somebody better than somebody else, because at the end of the day, you could lose it in 1 second. Then what do you got?
Right.
Well, I gotta apologize to you too, because like for the first 2 years of our show, I kept pronouncing your name Mache.
All right.
Mache.
It sounds
took
way
me a
more
minute.
artistic.
Yeah,
Nah, it's good.
exactly.
My iPhone still says Mache, so you're good.
Is there any particular wrestler that you work with the most that is, I don't know, like a diehard sneakerhead?
Shane O'Mac.
Yeah, Shane is. The thing is with Shane, he he's in and out so much, and it's funny. I remember when I was really working heavy with him, like when he was still really like on the shows a lot. He would like call me like and apologize for like bothering me. I'm like, dude, you're Shane McMahon. Like, you can call me whatever the hell you want. Like I was like I was playing like a pickup game at the park, and he called me. And I was like, I got to answer this. It's Shane McMahon. And then, he's like, oh, he's like, I'm sorry you're playing basketball or whatever. I'm like, dude, it's fine. What do you want?
Right.
So, but the rapport's been good with him because the first time, a lot of times when I do these celebrity things, at least in the beginning, I would give them a pair to open up the conversation, the relationship, and let them see the work, and kind of let it speak for themselves. And then when they come back, that's obviously when I charge them. So I linked up with Shane through Neil, who's the head of music, like all the music people that come in for WWE. So he got Bad Bunny, he got all these people to be. He's that guy, but he's a big sneaker guy too. So he linked me with Shane. I did a pair of ones that were the different shades of money that he wore, and he obviously loved them. And then down the road, he just kept hitting me up. So thankfully, whenever I need tickets for WrestleMania or whatever, I'm good now.
I gotta say, in particular with Shane McMahon, like, cause I haven't watched wrestling, and like every now and then, like I'll see clips online or whatever. But one of the moments in recent memory that I actually got excited about was when Shane came back, because he was gone for so long. And when he came back, to hear that music come out of nowhere, that's the thing about wrestling. Sometimes that music just plays out of nowhere. And so to see him come back or whatever, like I was always, even though he wasn't technically a wrestler.
Right.
It doesn't matter. He just climbs to the top,
saying,
flies
he
off
was
the
so
top rope,
entertaining.
throws it over.
Even
He
when he
grew
was
up
a heel.
emerged.
Even when he was a heel, he was so entertaining. Like, so I was always a Shane McMahon fan. As well as, it's funny because I guess I can tell this story now. This is about a year or so into us doing our show. We were going to get Hulk Hogan because Nick Hogan was actually listening to our show at the time. Whether he listens to it now, I don't know. But he was listening to our show at the time, and so I reached out, like, can we get your dad on the show? And he said he's going to talk to him and stuff. And I think we were getting close to getting him on the show, and then about a week later, that's when the controversy of him saying the N-word came out. And so that put a kibosh in the whole.
We'll send Dunkamaniac shirts out their way.
Let's do that. You mentioned the guy that's the head of music. Is there anybody else, like as far as wrestlers are concerned, that are like really into sneakers?
I mean, Kofi is. He's certainly someone who genuinely has a love for it. He was wearing dunks in the ring, and he started to make it a fun challenge, like just bust out crazy stuff. Like I remember he wore those Grinch Insta pumps during like Christmas time. And, he did it because he liked the shoe. I mean, they're a nightmare to wrestle in because, he's jumping off the top rope. That carbon fiber plate that's on the bottom got stuck in the rope, and he almost broke his neck. So he was telling me the story how, like, he's always trying to find things that certainly work for whatever's matching their gear, but also has to work, in the ring. Like, I remember, 2 WrestleManias ago, they did some gear that was like a coloring book, and it was like their journey getting to WrestleMania. So it started as black and white drawings. And as they would continue, they'd start coloring it in. And he started with the Air Max 1s that had the blueprint on them, like with the lines and stuff. And he was using those, but they were, again, he was like rolling his ankle and doing all this stuff. So he needed a pair of shoes. So he hit me like, kind of frantic, like, I need something that goes with this. And, I went to the mall. Again, I was really, short on time too. I couldn't just order a pair and wait for him, but he needed them for like SmackDown, like that week.
Right.
So I went to like Finish Line and grabbed a pair of Zions, and I was like, well, these work. I had to make sure they would, make sure he wouldn't break his neck. Then we made something happen. So that happened a lot. A lot of last minute things. I did a pair for Bret Hart, and actually his wife commissioned me to do them.
What?
Because there was a picture. It was back in the '80s with him and Anvil, and he was wearing the white and Carolina blue ones, like the originals. And she couldn't find them anywhere. And I showed her how much to get it retro was, and she was like, "Oh, I don't want to, can't spend that for whatever." And I was like, "Well, I'll tell you what." I was like, I ended up grabbing the obsidian ones and changed them up. Just kept the obsidian sole for them, and I just customized them, like put like the wedding anniversary. But there's a photo of him holding them, like he was wearing them and whatever. But it was a really dope photo seeing him with the glasses on and the ones, and I was like, oh, Bret Hart's a sneaker guy, okay.
I didn't know that.
Right.
Now I got a question for you.
Based
on gimmick, right? If you could work on, like, if you had to like put their costume designer, if you had to put their gimmick on a shoe, which wrestler throughout any moment in history would you have wanted to do a shoe for?
Oh God, that's tough.
The Ultimate Warrior.
Ooh, I was thinking
I did an Ultimate Warrior one. I did a pair of Warriors for Eric LeGrand when he got inducted into the Hall of Fame for like the Warrior Award. Mm-hmm. But I did a pair of Jordan 3s for him to wear, and I used the Cyber Mondays as the base. Did the stripes like the face paint, like where the panels were for the heel and the toe box, and then I had a strap that had the tassels hanging off, so you could take it off and on with the shoelaces. They were clean, and I got a photo of him on stage wearing them.
I thought it'd be dope. Like, have you done a Shawn Michaels shoe?
No, I haven't. I mean, I've seen people do custom versions of them. I'm trying to think. I mean, I don't want to say Flair because he already has his own shoe. So I'm trying to think.
I mean, Flair's the man, though. I mean, that's the easy.
Well, yeah,
answer.
Of course. Right. But I think because just because I've seen Adidas do their version of it, I might be competitive to try and one up it.
Trust me, but Adidas gave you a low bar to jump over. By the way.
Oh no, I know. Well, I was talking to my man designing at basketball over there, and I told him, and he was like, "Yeah, they did that before I even got here, so I can't even. That's not my fault." And I was like, "All right." Okay. It's like when the Dame shoes came out, but I mean, Macho Man. I did a Macho Madness Air Force One for a guy WWE 2 years ago. That was really dope. Like the NWO Madness stuff.
I think
you should do like a Hollywood Blondes pair. For
I
Steve
think
Austin.
Stone Cold would go dope on a air raid, the black and gray air raid, and I think
that'd be fire.
I think Sting will be dope on the Gary Payton glove.
That'd be like old Sting or new Sting? Which one?
The old Sting.
Yeah,
white.
We gotta make sure.
White face paint's not old Sting.
I gotta ask you, how important is the model? Because
the one you sit in the rafters.
No, that's new Sting.
That's good. That's the new Sting.
He means like old like 90s like colorful face Ultimate Warrior Sting, more or less. I forgot what they were called.
Sting.
Yeah. Oh, okay, no. Yeah. I'm talking about the newest. I like the newest.
Now, how important is the model? Because because certain shoes lend themselves well to a particular theme or story that you're trying to tell too, right? Or does it?
Yeah, it depends, and that's part of the challenge for me too. Because generally when I'm doing a consultation, they'll have their idea. Then the more important part is, okay, what's the base shoe? What are you thinking?
Right. And
then it's my job to figure out how to translate their idea and make it look good. Because for one, they're going to be wearing it and they're going to be saying, "I did it," so it can't look like shit. Right. It makes some whack custom, be like, "Oh, well, Mache made it," and then it's like, well, there goes my reputation that I spent 20 years trying to build.
One shoe.
Right.
Yeah. So
there's a profile.
Like now.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I'll pretty much turn down foam posit customs now, just because of the durability part of it. No matter how well you prep it, it's always rolling the dice. You never know how it's gonna bond. So, I learned a long time ago, don't even bother.
So, real quick, while I'm still remembering, because there's two things I want to ask you now. Since you said that, one, there's a profile called WrestleBotch. Follow it. It is the funniest profile.
It's the best.
It is the best. It's basically the profile is just basically just post clips of literally wrestle botches, like just botch spots that seen in wrestling. Man,
today's Supercell Saturday.
Oh man, I love those. I love his Mondo Mondays too. Speaking of the phone posits, because it made me think about, remember the mirror phone posits from, what was that, 2012?
When they were flaking all over the place, people were asking me to touch them up.
What was that, dog? So there's no way to fix that.
No. Wow. I had mirror paint, but it's not going to look the same.
I mean, yours big enough to go to a chop shop.
Yeah. Honestly, I got asked to touch up. All those Usher 3s and Usher 11s, like all those crazy looking ones.
Yeah.
I got asked to touch them up because they were all oxidized because of the way that material is. It's weird over time. It looks like it's oxidation. That's what it is.
It fogs up or something?
It gets like green, like patinaed, like spots.
Wow.
It's really crazy. So they asked me if there was a way to touch them up, and I was like, "No, regular paint." I'm like, you're gonna have to like do some science experiments. So like he was trying to like find like auto paint things to like that to match it, because I tried working on it and it wasn't. I mean, one of them I saved, but the other ones were like it didn't match at all. And like I'm a color theory guy, so like I didn't even feel comfortable. Like, yo, like we can't do anymore. I was like, I don't want to fuck all these shoes.
So
especially knowing how much they're worth.
I'm mad about those mirrors though, because I'm mad at night, because it's like, you know, I would like to think they would product test some of this stuff, and you would think that in the course of them doing right, you laughing. You would think in the course of them doing it, they would have come to the conclusion, hey, this is doing a chip relatively fast, you know. And so now, I mean, I don't think you can sell a pair because everybody knows they're going to flake, and nobody wants to go through that.
Right.
And they don't look as good
As they did when they first dropped.
Yeah, it's like you take even if you were to take all that paint off, it just looks. I don't know. It's a bad look, man. Damn it. You're not just a customizer though. You've also designed your own shoes. You just released the Badlands yesterday, right?
Yeah. Pre-order's still going on. It's been a cool evolution of what I've been doing, because I mean, again, I've been doing the custom shoes for so long, and I know we talked about how many notable people and brands and all that stuff I've been fortunate enough to work with, and it's kind of like you got to a point where it's like, all right, well, what else can I do? You know, like I could go the route to learn how to do the shoe surgeon stuff and start doing the materials and like Dank does and all that stuff. And honestly, like I feel like that's already done. Like I'm not a good swimmer, so I want to stay with what's comfortable. I like being an artist, and I'd rather perfect what I'm doing. But then the creating of a shoe, for years people were always like, when are you going to make your own shoe? When are you going to make your own shoe? And I was always very uncomfortable about even thinking about it, because it was foreign territory. I was an artist. I wasn't a shoe designer. And like, I knew that I wouldn't let myself be like thinking of myself as any more than that, because I was afraid, honestly.
Right.
So like 2 years ago, when All Star was in Chicago, that was 2 years ago, right? Yeah.
Oh, was it?
Not this past February, but the one before.
The one before. So yeah. So generally during All Star Weekend, I usually have some kind of activation with a brand, whether it's doing either a pop up, doing some kind of projects, doing the 101 for like a dunk contest. I always have something going on. For the first year, no one hit me up, and I was kind of like, damn, like, what am I doing wrong? Why don't they want to work with me? So I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm tired of waiting on the brands to kind of dictate where I go. So I was like, you know what? I was like, it's time to do my own thing. And I hit up my man Rich with Garrick's in studio. He had someone I know forever. He had asked me, whenever you want to make a shoe, just let me know. So I just started picking out Vibram soles as a base, because I knew what I liked in terms of comfort and things I can work with. And then I was just sketching, and then the Mache runner. A couple months later, had a silhouette, and then it was just kind of going to town in terms of storytelling and colors. And the reception's been great. In the beginning, I think people are so brand conscious, and that they want to wear things that people know what they are. Whether it's wearing the Jordan, the Nike, now New Balance's Storm back, which is great. Yes. But like people want to wear the Dior's and all that stuff to flex. And like I think people were my goal when I made it. So I want to make it be a runner that the NBA guys you can see walking in the tunnel. I want to see PJ Tucker holding my shoes. I want to see my man Stephon Diggs wearing my shoes like beforehand, being like, you don't have these. And that was kind of the goal. When I designed it, I'm a 41-year-old dude who's big about comfort now. Obviously, I want them to look good, but I want to make a comfortable shoe that I can throw on every single day. And I kind of feel like the shoe's clean enough that it's like an everyday wear, like a pair of New Balances, but it's also high quality stuff. So when you walk around, people look at them like, that's something different. Like, what are those? In a good way.
Right.
I gotta thank you though on your Mache collab with Ewing.
Oh yeah,
man, Guru knows. Like, first of all, it was funny. It was funny when those dropped though. It was funny when those dropped though, because I don't know if we had just come back from LA, but one of the funny stories from that weekend is we was in this house. We got an Airbnb, and the TV in the room is one of those old box TVs with the VCR built into it, and there was a tape of Ace Ventura stuck in there. And that's all that played that weekend. It just played on loop because you couldn't even watch TV. It would just play that movie in a loop. It would play, stop, rewind, and start playing again. And so
That was in your master suite?
yeah, no,
your
Jumpman,
penthouse suite?
Yeah, with the
Jumpman had the
VCR.
master suite.
Yeah. He always had the best
no.
rooms.
Well, I should, but no, Jumpman actually had the master suite that weekend. But the room I had, that's what happened. And I love Ace Ventura. That's one of my favorite movies. As a matter of fact, I think around the time those shoes dropped, I was actively looking for the movie because it wasn't on any streaming profile whatsoever. I think now it is, but when you dropped those, I was like, yo, I got to have those. That might be the first time I've ever said that about a Ewing shoe ever. I was like, I gotta have these. And so, I thought that shoe was dope. I'm glad you made that. What made you even make the collab based on that?
Well, I'll give you the more of the backstory. See, originally, when I used to customize way back when, I had a notebook of just themes that I wanted to do. And again, it goes back to things I was inspired by, whether it was movies, music, whatever. Ace Ventura was one of my favorite movies. And years before, I was doing a lot of work with Dwayne Wade and Way of Wade. I was doing, makeups and things like that. And actually, one of the themes that I had planned was to do an Ace Ventura on the Way of Wade originally.
Right.
And just things didn't work out, with bleeding and whatever. So I still had the idea. Ewing came to me, and they also own Chalkline, and they're both together, the same entity. And they had hit me about wanting to do a shoe, and I'm like, yeah, of course. Someone from originally from New York. I mean, Ewings are synonymous. I mean, they're freaking monster shoes, but for nostalgia's sake, I'm like, why not? So. I said I wanted to do it on the high, and I had the design already in my head from the Wades, like the initial idea.
Right.
But the original mock-up of those wasn't just the Dolphins color for the Hawaiian print. It was actually different panels with different colors of the Hawaiian print. So there's multicolored, and the sock liner was supposed to be like the green and yellow stripes of his pants.
Okay.
And so it was really crazy on the inside, and the gray was supposed to be white, and the outsole was supposed to be teal. And then on the back, instead of the 33, it was supposed to say number 5, for Ray Finkel's number.
Right.
So what ended up happening was, I had a couple different variations, and when I saw that the mock-ups of the multicolored, it didn't look great to me. So we went with sticking with the Dolphins colorway, which certainly works. And then the gray, the same deal. Like the mock-up, they thought I colored it in gray, but it was really supposed to be white. So when they made the model and it was gray, I was like, you know what? I was like, I like it though. I'm happy with it. And they were kind of like, if you want to make any changes, it's probably going to end up releasing like in September. I wanted it to release as a summer shoe because just the colorway was that. So I was like, no, we're good. I'm good with it. So they came out, and we were going to do alternate versions and things like that. And I'm sure it could still happen. I still have a relationship with people over there, and they're great. But yeah, the event was dope, and I found out that was the second highest selling Ewing behind Fab and Tiana Taylor's that they did at Packer.
Right.
But my shoe was the first one they actually did a restock of because they sold out. And
that shoe was dope.
Wow.
Props.
That shoe was dope.
Congrats on that.
I mean, I love that shoe.
So,
and it's funny. It makes me think I gotta get a Ray Finkel jersey.
Right.
Like, I definitely gotta get
Laces out.
There you go. So I know that you're working with Sean Paper Chaser Williams, who's a friend of the show. Love him. Shout out to OSD Live.
OG.
Yeah. So I know you can't speak on the specifics. So can you kind of at least tease what you guys are working on?
Yeah. So again, I've known Sean forever. Before the OSD days. Way back when, doing the Funk Flex car shows and all that stuff way back then. And I was actually reached out to by Sean's people. He's working with Infinite now, and they as the space is kind of evolving, we're trying to figure out different ways to stay with the times. And we know cryptocurrency and NFTs are a big thing now. So I've seen a couple people do the NFTs, and we're going to be doing together. Going to do something, launching NFT very very soon, tied in with my model. So I'm excited about it. I've got a lot of good plans for it.
Man, I can't wait to see what it is. It's supposed to drop this week, right? Or am I wrong?
Yeah.
The date? Okay.
Yeah.
So stay tuned.
I know that. Stay tuned. It's coming. It's coming. We're at the home stretch.
Throughout this discussion, I've had a whole lot of ideas brewing in my mind, so I'm going to have to reach out and kind of share some ideas with you, get your take on it. So I know it's Mental Health Awareness Month. I got a few ideas brewing for that.
Most definitely. So do you have any other plans for coming out any other shoes? Like I said, the Badlands just released. You said it's still open.
Oh yeah.
Do you have any?
So pretty much the plan is I'm gonna be releasing a different colorway, a different story every month. You know, when I first started dropping the shoe, the first one was back in August. Last year was the first colorway, and what I had done is I would, you know, with a pre-order model, you just guarantee that whoever wants to support can get them. That's the only way to do it. You know, and I also didn't know, you know, with my first shoe, I didn't know how it was going to be received. You know, at the end of the day, it's a big risk. You know, so I didn't want to just make like 1,000 shoes and have no idea if I was going to sell them. So the pre-order was kind of a safe way to be like, all right, let's see how the market is. Let's see how they're received, and you know, and they were received really well. You know, we're into this is the 4th colorway. And everyone has been inspired by something. The only one that wasn't inspired by an actual place was the last one. That was the gouache colorway.
Yeah.
And it was the whole shoe was inspired by watercolors, and the whole shoe was hand dyed with the ice dye canvas. And so every single one that people got was a 101. So it kind of gets that little bit of the custom thing, but also you're getting, you know, high quality production shoe. And that was actually a design my wife came up with. So she's been giving me shit for the last 2 months about how her shoe outsold my colorways.
Shout out to Mrs. Mache.
Right.
Oh yeah, so she's crowned herself as creative director of Mache Customs now. I'm just the bitch. So that's
You
what
just
I
the
am.
help.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm just hired help. That's it. But
Now, you based in New York, right?
I'm in Connecticut now, so
Okay.
I'm a Connecticut resident by marriage, but I'm from New York. But yeah, the Badlands one is it's one of those like more regular wears. I'll hold it up just so. This is her size, so you see how small it is. But my size 12, even, you know, when I designed the shoe, I want to have a short toe box so us Bigfooters still look like we had, you know, not boats. Because I think a lot of times you see, like, you know, we all know that Kevin Durant photo when he has his shoe and it looks like the big long bananas.
Right.
And I didn't want that for my shoes. So, like this is my size 12. Like, it doesn't look big. Like, it still has that short, squatty toe box.
Right.
So the goal was, you know, no matter what, I mean, obviously, girls' shoes always look better because they're just little.
That's
and they just,
true.
They do. Yeah, and I know that. So I wanted to be like, all right, how can a size 12 and a size 13 guy get that and whatever? So when we did it, you know, we designed it with, it's always quality material. It's always suede and nubucks, 3Ms. And this one, I actually put a French terry liner. So you think it's going to be really hot, but if you think of all those like sweat shorts that they have, it's all French terry because it's a lighter, I don't know what the word is.
It's that comfort factor.
Yeah. Oh, they're cozy as hell. I mean, people could wear them with no socks. I mean, I gotta wear socks. You know, no show socks. But you know, I know like Kofi. I know Kofi wore the Centrelli colorway in the ring, and he wore them with no socks. And I was just like, you're an animal. But
You make a size 15 of those?
I was waiting for it too.
Damn it.
But I'll tell you what. But I'll tell you what though. Kyle Rudolph and CeCe Sabathia are both size 15s, and they got the 14, and they're good. And I know they bought every single one. So I think I don't know how it stretches out or what, but it does work. We're working on getting bigger sizes. Basically, with the Vibram soles, it's an open mold, so only the size that are available is what's there. Unless you open up that mold, you know, it costs a lot of money to do it, which is just a business decision.
Right.
And just want to make sure that the want is there to make that investment. And it's there because I'm getting a lot of my NFL players like, hey, like Cam Jordan yelling at me like every time I drop a shoe, I make a size 16. So
have you ever did some Wizard of Oz shoes?
Yeah, she did Wizard of Oz shoes for he was one of the lollipop people. Like he was in the movie.
God, really?
Yeah, I did a pair of LeBron 9 Elites, and actually that shoe is where Dwayne Wade found me because I posted. This is back, you know, whatever 2012. I did them, and Dwayne saw those shoes and hit me up. And it's funny that how it worked. But like one side was you know, Yellow Brick Road, and I had like the Emerald City and all that stuff. Yeah, I'll have to find them. They were dope.
Oh, I'm gonna have to see them. That's my favorite movie.
Really?
Nostalgia. Yes. I used to watch that movie over
You're supposed to say
and
the
over.
Wiz, not the Wizard of Oz.
I'm sorry. I like Judy. Y'all hate when people say that to me too. That's like,
It's
I'm
like the Wiz.
sorry.
You're black. No, but no, shout out. Shout out to Mache, man. Appreciate you making time. We definitely got to stay in touch. Next time we're in Connecticut, I don't know when that's going to be. But whenever we're in Connecticut, we definitely going to link up. Hopefully we make it to a wrestling
Connecticut
event.
pizza. You got to try
Talk me into
Connecticut
it.
pizza.
Whoa, time out. What is Connecticut pizza?
Hey, Caesar said I'm on the way.
Exactly. I'm catching a flight tonight. What is Connecticut pizza?
It's usually like a coal-fired pizza. I know it's just a different thing. It's like the char on the bottom. I know Pepe's is known for like their clam pizza and things like that. I know Detroit style pizzas. I like pizza no matter what.
Right.
But I'm not one of those people that's elitist and says that this is better, this is better. I just like pizza. I'll eat Chicago. I'd say I'll eat Chicago too. I don't care.
Right.
I'll eat whatever. I mean, look at me. I'll eat whatever pizza.
No, most definitely. No, but I appreciate you making time for us. Like I said, I appreciate you coming on the show, and let's not make it the only time that happens. So until then, until next time, yes, sir.
Thanks,
Appreciate
guys.
you.
Appreciate
Yes,
you.
sir.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.